Hello everyone. Today, per Orland's request, we're going to be making a flaming sword. So I'm going to click the blue create button and click document to make a new document. I'm going to name this flaming sword and hit enter. All right, so this one we're not going to do based off of a picture that we import into here. We're just going to try and freehand it. So let's see. Let's look at flaming sword clip art. And if I go to images, let's see. So I'm seeing a gray sword. Well, that's a pretty cool one, a black sword. And yeah, so we're seeing a gray sword with a light black background, and then a red layer, and then a yellow layer. All right, we can do that. Let's see here. I get rid of that tab and we go back here. I'm going to start a new sketch on the top plane. So I'm going to click the top plane. I'm going to click sketch and I'm going to type N. So I'm looking right at it. And we're going to start by making the background of both the sword and the flames. And then we'll build everything on top of that using the offset tool. It's going to be really quick once we get our first background. So to start making my sword, I'm just going to do a generic sword. You can make it like a fancy scimitar or whatever you want, but we're going to go with kind of close to a Scottish claymore. So I'm going to do the center point of my sword and then go straight down. And then the hilt and the grip. Like that. There's half a sword. I'm going to hit escape, so I'm no longer in my line tool. And then I'm going to mirror this across this line. So I'm going to click my mirror tool. I'm going to click the line I'm going to mirror across right there. And then I'm going to click, hold down, and drag a box over everything. And it's going to mirror it for me. Now, if I drag anything around, so I'm going to zoom in here and hit escape so that I'm not in my mirror tool anymore. If I drag anything, it'll do it symmetrically, so I can get it exactly how I want it. Now, given that this is the background and not the actual sword, you're going to want it a little bit fatter than you actually want your sword to be. Now, we can always come back and adjust any of this afterwards, but we want to start out from a relatively accurate background. So, first things first, let's get this about the right size for printing. So I'm going to type D, which is going to activate my dimension tool. I'm going to go from the very tip of the sword down to here. Let's make that 70 millimeters for now. I kind of like that. All right, and I think with those dimensions, I'm going to hit escape again, so I'm no longer in my dimension tool. I'm going to make my grip a little bit smaller. Like that. My sword a little bit more narrow. So it looks a little bit closer to like a Scottish claymore kind of thing, like this. All right, next let's add the flames. So flames can actually be really tricky to make because it's really freeform and you don't really know exactly where things are going to go. So we're going to do a 4-point flame, kind of like this one, or like this one, or like this one. I've found the easiest way to make this kind of flame is by making your points first. So I don't think we've actually used this tool yet, but we're going to use the point tool. So click on that. And I'm going to make the 4 points of my flame. So I think maybe I want 1 point there, 1 point there, 1 point maybe there, and let's go with 1 point about there. Now I'm going to use these points to make my spline that is going to be the outside of my flames. So let's take a look at our flames again. It looks like it curves to the outside and then curves back in until it finishes to the outside, if that makes sense. Curves to the outside, and back in. All right, so let's see here. If I take my spline tool and make sure this is highlighted orange, because then I can snap to it, and I go outside like this, click, back inside a little bit, click, and then to here, click. And then I'm going to hit escape. And then I'm still in my spline tool, which is what I want, because I need a nice sharp point. As you can see right here, I don't want it rounded off. I want a nice sharp point at the end of each one of my flames. So click there, and I'm going to click. I'm going to hold down shift so that I don't get any things highlighted orange like this is right here, because that can mess with changing your flames afterwards. So hold down shift, and then we're going to go click and click, and I do want a rounded bottom to my flame. So we're going to go click right there and let go of shift so I can snap to my point, click right there, and escape again. And once again, we're going to click and then hold down shift and click and click and click and click, and one last right there. Let go of shift so it'll snap like make it an orange square, so I'm snapping to it. Click and escape. Oh, I accidentally clicked. Guess I got to make that spline again. Click my spline tool and click shift, click, 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 and last one, click. There we go. Escape. There we go. Click here, hold down shift, click, click, click. Let go of shift, click. And then the last one. Click here, hold down shift. Let's go out a little bit. And then back in. Maybe something like that. Let go of shift so I can snap to my line. There we go. Escape. And there's my flame. It doesn't really look like a flame yet. Looks almost more like a flag. But I can hit escape one more time, and this will change to white, not blue, so it's no longer activated. And then I can just drag these anywhere I want them to go. So maybe I want the trough of this flame to go a little bit deeper. Let's see what it compares to. So this is the outline, remember. We're not doing what's yellow, we're doing what's black here. So there we go. So I want to make these a little bit sharper, I think. Something like that. And maybe we have this curve out and back in. You can see I can really play with the shape of my flame with the spline. Let's see, I kind of liked how that curved out. So let's try and do that again. And then have it curve back in. Yeah, I kind of like that. Let's make these flames maybe a little bit taller. So you can see I'm just able to play with it a little bit and get it exactly what I want these flames to look like. Let's make this all a little bit sharper. Maybe that flame's a little bit deeper. And that flame's a little bit taller. Something like that. There we go. All right, last thing to do is get rid of this line right here so that I can actually extrude this. So I'm going to click the scissors, which is trim, or I can hit M. And then I'm just going to click and drag right through the line that I don't want. It's going to get rid of it. All right, so green check mark. That sketch is done. And we're going to extrude it like that. Click it. And it should extrude as soon as I actually click in it. There we go. And as you can see, this is really, really big. I do not want it that big. We're going to make our bottom layer, which is the base, the black layer, 0.8 millimeters thick. And then green check mark. And you can see that is the thickness that I'm actually after. And now is where the offset tool is really going to come in handy. So I'm going to make another sketch on this top plane. So I'm going to click that face and click sketch and type N. So I'm looking right at it. And then I'm just going to use my offset tool, and it's going to make this offset red or orange flame right in there. So I'm going to click all my flames. It's going to yell at me, but that's okay. It's something we can fix really easily by grabbing this arrow here and dragging it to the inside like that. Now I do not want a very big offset here because we just want this to be a very thin black outline that then turns into red. So we'll go with that. Just make sure it's on the inside and enter. And then you can change how far that offset is. I think I'm going to make that offset 1.5 millimeters. Let's go with that and see how it looks. I like it. And now I'm just going to draw a line from this point to this point. So grab my line tool, grab one point here, make sure it's highlighted orange, go to the next one, make sure it's highlighted orange, and click. And then green check mark, and we're going to make that extrusion. So I'm going to click my extrude button, looks like 2 boxes, and click the area of my sketch that I just made. Again, it's going to make it really big. We only want this one to be 0.6 millimeters thick. So not very thick. And then, so that's the red layer. And then we got to do it again. But offset tool, once again, is going to make it really easy. So I click this face. I go sketch. I type N. So I'm looking right at my sketch. And then I use my offset tool once again. And I grab all my offset lines. And it's going to yell at you again because it's offsetting to the outside. But that's okay, because once we get them all, we're going to grab this arrow and drag it to the inside like that. And this one, I do want to be a little bit thicker of an offset. So if we go back to our pictures of flaming swords here, you can see really thin black line. That's what we made last time, but a pretty thick red line. And so we want to give it a pretty good offset so that we get a pretty thick red line before it turns like kind of to the yellow heart, if that makes sense. So I'm going to hit enter, and then I can change this once again. Let's go with 4 millimeters. And it looks like it's not happy about something here. Not quite sure what. Let's see if we can do this offset again and see if it sorts itself out. Offset. Grab all of my edges like that. And if not, we can always patch it and make it work. Enter. No, it's still not happy. I think it's because of this curve. It doesn't like how sharp that curve is. That's okay. We can fix it really easily. So I'll make that 4 once again, just like I did last time. So you can see there's a gap here. If you leave a gap like that, it is not going to let you actually extrude it. So we just patch that up by grabbing our line tool and clicking one edge here and one edge there. Then we do it again. Escape. Grab the line tool. Do it again from there to there. And escape. Oh, looks like it's not going to let me even do that. That's okay. We can still even fix that problem. I can grab my scissors, just get rid of this altogether, and then just make an arc between them that looks about like what I want. So grab one point, grab the other, and then I can, not clicking anything, just moving my mouse around, move this to about where I want it. So let's go with something like that. So that's how you can patch up a problem with a spline. All right, green check mark. And then I'm going to extrude this. So we'll grab that face and hit extrude again. And this one, I want to make 0.6 again. And green check mark. So now you can see it's kind of layered like that. Now I'm going to make the steel of my sword, which is going to be offset once again. So I'll grab this bottom surface click sketch, type N, so I'm looking right at my sketch, and we'll use the offset tool again. So offset right there. Grab all of my outside edges like this, and that, and that. And we'll just keep going. And we're not going to get this very last one because that wouldn't give us an entire line, and it's a lot easier for us to, just like we did with the spline right here, stitch up the difference. So I'm going to grab this arrow here, bring it to the inside, and once again, I don't want a very big gap, but I can always change it. So even if I make a really big gap on accident and hit enter, I can just type in a new number. I'm going to make that 1 millimeter. There we go. It looks like we missed something with this offset. So once again, I'll just do it one more time. And there we go. Now the last thing we got to do here is close off our sword. So I'm going to grab a line, and I can make this go almost anywhere I want as long as it doesn't highlight anything orange and snap to it. So I'm going to do something like that. And then I'm going to do a few different constraints. The first, oh, sorry, going to hit escape. The first constraint I'm going to do is a vertical constraint so that this is vertical like that. The next one I'm going to do is a horizontal constraint so that this is horizontal with that one, and these are the exact same length. The other way I could do it is an equal constraint. So I can make those two lines equal, but I'm going to do horizontal. So this point is horizontal with that point. There we go. Then the last thing I'm going to do is make sure that these 2 points are coincident so I can actually extrude it. So click that arrow and go coincident. Click those 2 points. And there we go. Green check mark. And click the sketch I just made and extrude. And now this one, we want to be higher than all the other things we've made. Not this much higher, but we know that this is 0.6 and this is 0.6. And the next one we want to also be 0.6. And so I'm going to do 0.6 times 3. 0.6 times 3, which is 1.8. And green check mark, and we're almost there. Last thing we're going to do is the handle. Now I'm not going to offset the handle. I'm going to use the use tool. You'll see what that is. So click the surface I want to sketch on. This is the last sketch we got to make. So I'm going to click sketch. I'm going to type N so that I'm looking right at my sketch. And I'm going to use the use tool here, right there, and just grab all of these edges that we just made with our extrusion. That, and that, and that. And then I'm going to close this off with another line right here. We'll stitch that up. There we go. Green check mark. And then this last one that we just made, I'm also going to extrude 0.6. And green check mark. And there we go. There is our flaming sword. Now we can even make it look like a flaming sword in CAD. We can do that by changing appearances. So this surface right here, like I was saying, was going to be black. We'll right click, say add appearance to face. And then this comes up and we're going to click black because that's our black background. Green check mark. Now this surface we said was going to be red. So I'm going to right click, add appearance to face. And then we'll make it red like that. You can make it orange if you want. Well, orange might even look better. We'll see. We'll go with that for now. Green check mark. And then this part is yellow. So I'm going to right click it, edit appearance or add appearance to face. And you can see yellow isn't really in here, but you can mix it if you want. So we can go kind of close to yellow. And then we'll take this slider, bring it even closer to yellow in there, like that. And then I'll move this dot up into the yellow corner. And green check mark. And there's our yellow, orange, and black background. Next, I want to make my steel sword. So this is going to be gray. Right click, add appearance to face. Looks like we've got a pretty good gray right there. So green check mark. And then the last one is my hilt. So I'm going to right click, add appearance to face, and let's make this brown. How about that? That looks like a pretty good brown. Green check mark. And there we go. There is our flaming sword. If you want to make it like a keychain or something, then you can go off this bottom face, the base that we made, and you can do another sketch. Type N so you're looking right at it. And then, oh, there we go. And then you can just add 2 circles right at the bottom. Go with 1 circle like that. And 1 circle like that. And then we'll go green check mark. And we'll extrude this outer kind of donut. Extrude, and we made this 0.8. 8. And now we got to go the other direction because it's extruding up and we want it to extrude down so it's the same. And there we go. Green check mark. And there's the kind of keychain of a flaming sword right there. You can obviously change whatever you want the fire to look like. You can make it way longer. You can make it way bigger. You can change your sword so that it's kind of curved and looks like a scimitar. And you can do that really easily by going into Sketch 1, double click. And you can see here, I can change anything that I want to about my sword and about my flame, and then everything else will follow. So if I want the sword to be like really, really big, like that, and then green check mark. This might break my flame a little bit. We'll see. Yeah, I kind of broke my flame, messed up my sword a little bit. But you can see how the changes kind of carry over like that. So I'm just going to get this close to back to where it was from the sketch. I think I had it about like that. There we go. So, hope you liked it. Orlin, I hope you make your flaming sword. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see ya.